What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another King Japes video. Now I want to start off the year, folks, by just doing a quick little update, as well as show you guys some of the new cameras and recent gear I've been enjoying. We're gonna be talking everything between cameras, new filming equipment, also new photo books, because I picked up some new ones as well. And I will be sharing an important update on my up and coming book, which is set to release either middle of February or early March. So with that said, there's a lot to talk about. Let's get started. One of the hardest things about being a creative is to have the drive to create when your tank of inspiration runs low. It's only when you combine work ethic with passion that you come out victorious. It's been an interesting year. I think 2024 was one of those years where I focused more on photography itself and just really working on my craft and creating this body of work. Now, I started off in 2022 with an idea to do some sort of like black and white body of work. But that quickly changed, and I realized that color was my next big challenge. I think color has always been something that I struggled with, and so I pretty much have been shooting color film for like the last 3 years of me working on this body of work. Now, so far, I have over 2,000 photographs, and I shot over around 500 rolls of film within that 3-year span. And so I've essentially been stockpiling little prints inside of this gigantic binder. It's like an old photo album, and essentially I get 4x6 prints that I like from my rolls. I put them in here, and that's essentially how I catalog my images. So here's a quick little sample of what those look like. But this body of work is going to be my first hardcover book, which is huge for me because I've been doing zines for the last maybe 7 years or so, and I thought it was time to release my first real monograph. And so I'm very excited for it. I got a whole book title set up, and someone's gonna be writing a foreword for me, and it has been an extremely fun yet very humbling experience. So I'm gonna share more about the book in the next few weeks here. I'm still working on it. I have one more trip to get out of the way, and I'm gonna take those images, sit down, and then I'm gonna start to lay the book out. So if you wanna stay updated on the book process, or maybe just even ask questions about how I'm creating my book, you can follow me over on Instagram at King Japes, and I will be more than happy to share more. Now, apart from the book, folks, I also moved into a new apartment. Now, the space that I'm filming in is the new studio, as you guys have seen from, I would say, the last maybe 4 videos or so, but it is not yet complete. And if you guys are interested in seeing sort of like a studio tour, or maybe even like a whole apartment tour, comment that down below. Curious to see if any of you guys are interested, but so far everything's coming along. I'm waiting on a few big pieces, and then I will do the tour. Now, the first recent pickup that I want to talk about is this thing right here. So this, folks, is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Now, I held off on owning this camera for about a year. I remember the hype was super high, and at the time it didn't really make sense. I have an FX3, I have all the different lenses that I need to, really go out and film high quality video. But throughout the year, I realized lugging the camera through Japan, lugging the camera through New York, it got a little bit tiresome. And that's when this camera came into play. And if you have been watching the last few videos, I have been absolutely using this thing. Oh my goodness, the quality of it looks really good. It has bokeh in a weird way, so you can still get that shallow depth of field when you're vlogging. And it's not gonna be my main A camera. The FX3 that I'm filming on still is going to be my main camera. When it comes to going out into the street and I need to have a video camera as well as my photography camera, this thing is going to come everywhere with me. All right, so next up, we're gonna be talking about some new film cameras that I purchased in 2025 that I've been very excited about. But before we get into that, I wanna give a huge thank you and shout out to the sponsor of this portion of the video, which is Squarespace. Squarespace is your all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. If you've never built a website before, do not worry. Squarespace features Design Intelligence, which uses AI technology to help tailor your dream website. You can start from scratch, or you can use one of Squarespace's award-winning templates to get started. You also have the ability to set up your own online store, enabling you to sell prints, merch, or even services all in one place. Lastly, Squarespace Payments allows your clients to pay pretty much whichever way they want, which is not only convenient, but it also builds trust in your brand. So to get started with your own professional website today, head over to squarespace.com/KingJapes and enter promo code KingJapes at checkout to receive 10% off of your first purchase of a domain or a website. Huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. All right, next up, let's talk about some new film cameras that I got. Now, after Japan, I've really been getting into the point and shoot game. After purchasing the Contax T2 in Japan, I went down a frenzy of premium film cameras and I got some gas, some gear acquisition syndrome. All right, so here you go. You got the Contax T2. You guys have seen this in previous videos already. The T2 has been one of my dream point and shoots for a very long time. And so being able to own it now, I can honestly say I really enjoy it. But folks, my newest camera, the one that I am essentially revealing in this video, is this camera right here, the Fujifilm Class. Now, I picked up the Fujifilm Class from a friend of mine. I wasn't really even looking for a camera, but he hit me up and he's like, yo, I have a Fujifilm Class. I don't get to use it anymore and I want it to go to a good home. Would you like to buy it? And he gave me a super good price, one that you really couldn't say no to. And now I have a Fujifilm Class in my hand. So here it is, folks. It has a beautiful 38mm 2.6 lens, which is a little bit faster than the 2.8 that's inside of the Contax T2. The Fujifilm Class is also considered a premium point and shoot, and so you have different controls here, like you have focus controls. On the top, you also have aperture control. And one of my favorite things about this thing here is the screen and then just that little hit of Fujifilm Professional. A lot of cameras these days don't have that badge right there. So I know it's just a little thing, but I personally really enjoy it. Now, surprisingly, between the two cameras, I still like shooting the Contax T2 better, but I feel like the Class has way faster autofocus. I don't know, something about it seems very snappy because when you focus on something, for example here, the camera will go ahead and adjust its lens on the fly. That is the Fujifilm Class. That is the brand new camera that I got. Another thing that I've been really enjoying lately is this new tripod from SmallRig, and it's in collaboration with Potato Jet. Now, funny enough, Potato Jet is a YouTuber I've watched for a very long time. And so when SmallRig approached me and said, hey, we want to send you a tripod that was designed by Potato Jet himself, I couldn't say no. So I got the tripod, and folks, I gotta say, this tripod blows every other tripod that I've ever used out of the water. First and foremost, this thing is built out of carbon fiber, so it is actually pretty light. Although it is a video tripod, so you're gonna have a larger swivel head as well as like counterbalance features. You could still use it for photography, but really all the different features are for video. But my favorite feature is the quick release handle. So you have this handle on the right side of the tripod that essentially allows you to set your tripod up within seconds. And this is game changing because I've never had a tripod before that you can essentially adjust just from having a little lever. If you notice, the tripod doesn't have a ball head, and that is because you level out your tripod based off of just using that handheld lever. And the quality of this tripod is insane. In fact, I started to give away my other tripods except one photo tripod that I have still. And this is like the only one that I currently use. So I personally really love this tripod. If you do any type of video, I highly recommend it. Definitely want to go and check it out. SmallRig X Potato Jet tripod. Now, as you guys have seen, I also picked up this Kex KF01 flash, and it's a small little compact flash that you could take anywhere with you. I don't always shoot flash, but now that I have this one right here, I always keep it in my bag, and it comes in really handy actually. I really enjoy it. If you guys want to see the full review that I did, I will leave a link in the description below. You guys can check it out. But you know, needless to say, I really enjoy this flash. And if you're a film photographer and maybe you don't have a flash already, I highly recommend you pick it up. All right, let's move on to some new photo books. I actually picked up 2 books this month. I have this one right here in my left hand, which I got from a thrift store. And this one was from MoMA, I believe, SF MoMA. But I want to start off with this book. So this is from Joel Meyerowitz, and it is called How I Make Photographs by Joel Meyerowitz. And it's part of the Masters of Photography series, I guess you could say. And essentially, he goes through how he makes photographs on the street. For example, here he says, embrace the everyday. And if you're getting into street photography and you really want to have a resource that you can look back at every now and then, I think he does a great job explaining a lot of the core principles, like anticipating the moment, making connections, and he also has beautiful work in here as well from his entire career. So if you want a good resource for how to shoot street photography, like Joel Meyerowitz, definitely pick this book up. I think it's available on Amazon, and you know what, I'll leave links in the description below for you guys to check out. But now the next book that I have is not going to be for everyone, but the next book here is the Pantone Guide to Communicating with Color. So this book essentially explores color science, but it explains what each color does And so you can better use that to your advantage when you're either making photographs or if you are graphic designing, for example, like let's say you're gonna make a new post or a new website, and they'll show you advertisements that use these colors and kind of what they're going for and what they're trying to portray with the colors. Purple is a glorious yet complex color preferred by very creative and eccentric types. And it just goes on and on. So it's a really, really good resource if you are designing new things, or maybe if you are just a photographer like myself and you want to emulate certain emotions from color. I think that's really why I purchased it, because if you go out into the world and you find these colors, you can essentially craft an image with a certain feel just by knowing what emotions you get with each color. So not the most interesting thing in the world, I would say, but definitely something that you should check out if you are into it. But that is going to wrap up this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys want to see anything new. If you guys have a question, comment, or concern on any of the gear that I talked about today, I'm going to reply to as many of them as I possibly can. I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, Minolta Gang.